Boxing is a sport for gentlemen where, despite attempting to prevail with brute force, the rivalries created should stem from the intention of self-improvement, not from the desire to harm your opponent. However, as passionate human beings, the discipline has gifted us many stories where enemies step into the ring to settle personal matters, and the fight between Mike Tyson and Mitch Green would be no different. Welcome. In this video, we will not only tell you about what happened in the bout between Iron Mike and Blood Green in the ring. Stay until the end to find out how, years later, violence spilled into the streets due to the insolence of a gangster who thought he could redeem himself outside the boxing ring. Mitch Green, a native of New York, is remembered in his time in the discipline as a fighter who boasted about his ring skills and his audacity in the streets. His professional boxing career began on November 8, 1980 with a technical knockout victory over Jerry Foley.
Halfway through round one, and it has been all Mitchell Green. Mitchell Green, I don't know what you can't tell from a bout like this because Jerry Foley was strictly in the bout.
From there, he embarked on an incredible winning streak that earned him the opportunity to face the Beast, Iron Mike. When their paths crossed, Blood Green, as he liked to be called, not only began talking about how he would defeat the legend in the ring. His threats escalated to a new level of violence after publicly promising, in a press conference, to end Tyson's life. With his arrogant, irresponsible, and unsportsmanlike attitude, Green portrayed himself as the one who would tarnish Mike's professional record, shattering his undefeated status. The fight almost didn't take place as Green threatened organizers at the weigh-in with withdrawing if he didn't receive more money. In the end, it was reported that Tyson earned $250,000 while Mitch had to settle for just $30,000. Finally, both fighters entered the ring on May 20, 1986, at Madison Square Garden in New York. They were joined by Luis Rivera, the referee, tasked with ensuring a fair fight for both boxers. With a critical eye, George Colon, George DeGabriel, and Pat Dolan would be responsible for determining the winner if the power of their fists hadn't stopped the fight earlier. Green entered the ring as the 7th-ranked contender by the World Boxing Council with a professional record of 20 victories, 10 of them by knockout, 1 defeat, and 1 draw. Tyson, although ranked 8th by the WBC, entered the ring growling with Eye of the Tiger playing in the background. His professional record was much cleaner than Green's, with 20 victories, 19 of them by knockout, and no losses. Face-to-face, Blood Green had no escape. He had to prove that his skill in the discipline matched his words, and even if he wouldn't kill Tyson, he would at least have to knock him out to avoid being remembered as just another loudmouth. With the sound of the bell, the contest began. Tyson came out of his corner with the aggression that characterized him, while Green, maintaining distance, tried to counterattack every time Mike invaded his personal space.
Pretty much do the same thing a boxer should do to a puncher. Keep that jab in his... He just was a little bit lazy.
By the second round, Tyson had already started working on his victory with body shots, aiming to land his fists on Green's head when the opportunity arose.
Good left hand by Tyson. Man had it bleeding back. Watch the left hook of Mike Tyson land. There's the left hook I was talking about.
From Green's perspective, the gangster hadn't managed to establish a clear strategy to dominate the Beast, and by the end, he had to absorb some of the hardest punches he had received in his professional career.
And he did draw a warning from Luis Rivera, the referee, about holding Green's in trouble. Those shots by a lot of leverage. The body shots. Watch for the left hook. There it is again.
In the third round, Green tried to contain Mike's fury by clinging to his body, but Iron Mike's offensive put him in tight spots, often cornering him against the ropes.
Well, the problem he's making, he cannot touches.
Tyson was already marked as the winner on the judges' scorecards, and Green had to improve his attacks if he wanted to steal the pace of the fight. However, even in the fourth round, he seemed not to have consolidated any plan to actively work on his victory. Tensions in the arena escalated even more when, after the closing bell, both fighters attempted a brief exchange of blows, revealing that the rivalry went beyond imagination, foreshadowing the violent events we will tell you about at the end of this video.
That's something that he did not do against Quick Phillips.
In the fifth round, Tyson's strategy had been so consistent that it began to show. He worked on his victory with body shots to Green. Mike only fueled the flames when, in the midst of an attack, he mocked the gangster who couldn't land a punch on him. With an excellent hip movement, his speed allowed him to escape what could have been a damaging flurry.
Leading to, well, just be learned in talking to some of the people who fought. Look at here, just laughing at it.
The Beast, Iron Mike, dominated the fight in the 6th and 7th rounds. Occasionally, Blood Green attempted to counterattack, but when he neglected his guard, he only gave Tyson the opportunity to redirect his fists towards his head.
Here again, Mitch Green is throwing his punches and not doing any damage. I mean, Tyson there, good up. He'll take a stand eventually. Another couple body shots.
The gangster, who had promised to end Iron Mike's life and had remained submissive, seemed to change his mind for the 8th round. Green, for the first time in the fight, engaged in a violent exchange of blows that, unfortunately for him, he couldn't win. Towards the end, Tyson punished him with some good punches for daring to pretend to be on his level.
Which he allows those shots like that to land. Tyson said one time, he said, I understand anatomy. Here again. Oh, what a left hand!
Just 1 round away from the scheduled end, Green would once again be cautious not to neglect his guard enough to give Tyson the chance to end the fight earlier than planned. With the judge's decision after the break, Blood Green only had to contain the Beast's power for a couple more minutes if he wanted to hope for a miracle to become the winner of a fight he hadn't managed to dominate until now. After the sound of the bell, Madison Square Garden went wild. The audience shouted so loudly that the fighters probably couldn't even hear their own thoughts. It was the 10th round and everything was about to come to a conclusion. Mitch, clinging to Mike's body, tried to contain his rival for a couple more minutes to finish standing. Mike, dissatisfied with allowing Green to come so far, continued seeking that knockout victory with severe combinations of body shots where he eventually dodged one to the gangster's head. After the closing, Tyson's frustration was evident in his gaze. But there was nothing more to be done. Blood Green would go down in history as one of the few in his golden era to have survived until the end of a fight against him. The difference in punches thrown and landed made it evident, but when the announcer took the center of the ring, it felt like anything could happen. After a few seconds of uncertainty and 10 long rounds with a clear predator and an obvious prey, Mike Tyson was announced as the winner of the bout by unanimous decision of the judges. Generally, every conflict ends when the fight is over, but in this case, the exchanges of blows in the ring were just the appetizer for a problem that would escalate to unthinkable levels of unsportsmanlike conduct. To provide context, we must go back to the early hours of the morning on August 23, 1988, when Mike Tyson made the misguided decision to visit Dapper Dawn, a Harlem clothing store commonly frequented by a clientele ranging from rap stars to pimps. Unaware of the events that would unfold from his visit, Tyson arrived to pick up a custom-made jacket. What he didn't know was that Mitch Green was also in the area, and upon seeing him, a violent argument ensued, during which Green threw a punch at Tyson, who responded with a powerful right that hit him square on the bridge of his nose. As a result of the unnecessary street fight, Mitch needed 5 stitches. However, this unofficial victory for Tyson would be short-lived, as in the long run, he would face the worst consequences. The blow to Iron Mike's bare knuckles resulted in a fracture, leading to the postponement of his scheduled first professional fight against Frank Bruno. But that is a story for another video. If you've made it this far, we thank you. And we remind you that there is no better way to support our content than by liking the video and subscribing to our channel, activating the notification bell. Now that you know Tyson managed to defeat Mitch in the ring and on the streets, do you think Blood Green was a true gangster, or just someone who liked to talk too much? We'll read your thoughts in the comments.